begins with Takashi, Rei, and Hisashi fighting against them at their campus rooftop. They make their way to the astrology platform and Hisashi saves Rei from one of them before it can bite her. Transition to several hours ago where Takashi is busy moping about his childhood crush, Rei. Saya tells him that he shouldn't be moping, otherwise he will be distracted from school and end up being left behind. After she realizes it is pointless to continue, she leaves for class. Takashi sees several gym teachers looking at a student at the gate. Teshima tries to force him to leave but is bitten and dies of blood loss. Hayashi and the others try to get him back up, which he does, but as one of them. He bites Hayashi and the other two teachers flee in panic. Takashi, who had seen the incident, rushes to Rei's classroom to alert them of the danger. Takashi runs to his classroom, everyone surprised and the teacher saying that he should not have come. He grabs Rei and tells her they need to leave, but she refuses and he ends up slapping her to get her attention. Hisashi and Rei listen to Takashi's story and leave the classroom. Hisashi grabs some weapons in case Takashi's story ends up being true and Rei says she can call her father as he is a police officer. He also tells them that he doesn't need weapons as he is a black belt in karate. Rei tries to call her father through the police line, but it is unavailable, which rarely, if ever, happens at all. The intercom turns on and the person talking through it tells all students that violence has occurred on campus and all students should evacuate before being attacked and killed by one of them. While the person is screaming, Kohta crawls out of his classroom and Saya tells him the two are getting out of school. Seiko is busy praying at a makeshift shrine at school before standing up with her wooden sword. Shizuka wakes up from a nap, unaware of what just happened. Students all over the school are stunned, and when a chalk falls from a teacher's podium, they panic in an attempt to flee, creating a stampede as desperate students attempt to escape. Hisashi tells Takashi that they can escape through the administrator's office. On the way, they encounter Wakasaka, who is turned into one of them. Rei stabs him with the makeshift spear, but he still survives even though it was aimed at the heart. Hisashi grabs him and tells Rei to pull the spear out and attempts to break his neck, but is unable to due to his unnatural strength. Wakasaka bites Hisashi, and Takashi kills Wakasaka with a strike to the head with a baseball bat. The three watch as the undead easily overwhelm the other students and Hisashi suggests going to the roof for safety. As they reach the rooftop, they see the entire city in chaos. They later see SDF, self-defense forces, helicopters fly in to assess the damage and fight the undead. Rei tries to wave to them but Hisashi tells them that they aren't here for rescue operations. In the school library, Misuzu and Tashimi are running together when Tashimi is grabbed by a zombie. They overpower her attempts and she begs for Misuzu to save her, but instead she kicks her to save herself. Unfortunately, she does not notice three zombies behind her and is subsequently killed by them. Elsewhere, a teacher goes crazy and commits suicide after not accepting the fact that people are eating each other. While trying to find out what is going on, zombies surround the three. They fight their way towards the observatory and manage to block it before they can get up. After some pondering, Hisashi becomes sick from the bite wound from Wakasaka and asks Takashi to push him off the ledge so he will not come back as one of them. Takashi agrees but Rei becomes emotionally hurt and tries to prevent him from doing so. After Hisashi dies, he comes back as one of them, and Takashi is forced to kill him before he can hurt Rei. In a scene after the credits, Rei remains devastated over Hisashi's death, wishing to become one of them rather than continue living. Takashi tries assuring her that he killed Hisashi for her own protection, but Rei spitefully retorts that he must have done it because he secretly hated Hisashi for going out with her. Hurt by Rei's accusation, Takashi states he will leave her to kill the rest of them by himself. Rei stops him, realizing Takashi will die on his own, and tearfully apologizes for her words while begging him to stay with her. Takashi embraces Rei, thinking to himself that, on the day everything ended, he had killed his best friend and held the girl he loved for the first time in his life. Surviving students scream while being chased by zombies inside a hallway. Saya and Hirano watch them flee and make their escape. A delusional student, bitten by a zombie, approaches one only to be eaten. Hirano asks Saya where they are going, and he suggests going to the staff room. Saya stops and asks him if he wants to die or live. Saya then tells him that other people had the same idea as he suggested, and it shows 6 students banging on the staff room begging for the teachers to let them in. Unfortunately, 2 of them walk out and attack the students, and Saya tells him that she wants to live and tells him to move it. At the observatory platform, Takashi is sitting watching Hisashi's corpse. Rei asks Takashi for his phone and tells him that even though the emergency line is busy, her father gave her a number that should only be used for emergencies. She puts the number in and connects to her father, who thinks that Takashi is calling him due to the address coming from his phone, and tells her that the city is in a state of panic and they need to get out immediately before the line disconnects. Due to the undead outside on the rooftop, they decide to break out using a water hose. Back in the hallways, the zombies drag other undead corpses and/or consume them. Hirano asks Saya if she has her phone and suggests calling the police, but she tells him that other people had already done the same thing and that they hadn't heard any sirens yet. He then suggests calling the SDF, but like always, she tells him they are probably in the same situation and not much of Japan's population of 130 million are aligned with them. After one of them spots the 2, they quickly leave. Saya is upset that she is stuck with him since Komuro ran off during the panic. In the nurse's office, Kazu watches as his friend Okada reanimates. He panics and grabs an 4-pole, bashing Okada's head and apologizes for doing so. Shizuka, somewhat aware of the situation now, says to herself she cannot contact the police or fire department and grabs medicinal supplies. Even though she is a nurse, she quickly reasons that those who become bitten cannot be saved and reanimate after death. Several of them break into the medical office and Kazu tries to fend them off but is quickly overpowered. He tells her to run, but she is unable to as she doesn't remember his name, to his surprise. Several more surround Shizuka, but Saeko kills them all before they can do so. She introduces herself to Kazu and asks for his name. After knowing his name, she asks him if he knows what happens when people get bitten, and he already knows it. She asks him if he does not want his friends or family to see him as one of them. She offers to kill him, which he gladly accepts. 2 more zombies break into the office but are easily dispatched. Elsewhere, in the school's workshops, Saya asks Hirano if he is one of those military nerds or gun freaks. Hirano finds a nail gun and the undead have heard the door being shut and are outside the workshop doors. Hirano finds an extra gas container and nails in the box, his personality changing into a serious tone. He deduces that the nail gun weighs 9 pounds, similar to an old assault rifle, and will need a sight to shoot the nail gun properly with his current stance. He quickly builds a makeshift sight from planks of wood, a pencil, erasers and tape while they break in. The undead are about to overwhelm Saya when Hirano kills one of them with his makeshift gun. At the rooftops, Takashi asks Rei if she is ready with their plan. He struggles to control the water hose at first, but eventually does and points it at them outside, which kills them due to the high pressure of the water. Back at the workshop, Hirano asks Saya to grab the extra nails into a bag, which she objects due to her view of him. After watching his grimacing smile, she immediately obliges. As more undead surround them, he prepares to shoot them with the nail gun. Takashi asks Rei if they are ready to re-enter the building as it will be rough inside. She later asks him where they are going, and he tells her they are going back to their homes and help survivors along the way. They realize that it sounds like a good idea as Rei's father is capable of defending himself while Takashi's father is away and his mother is at an elementary school. He then shudders as it isn't a laughing matter as he has an idea of what the outbreak is like in his mother's school. Transition to another hallway where Saya throws a wet rag on one of them. Hirano asks her what she is doing and she tells him to watch, throwing another wet rag on nearby lockers. The undead student hears the noise and bangs his head on the lockers. She deduces that they ignore pain but react to sound, and that they cannot see as their example showed that he wouldn't have run into the lockers if he could. Several of them, who have overheard their conversation, approach them and the 2 escape. At another hallway, Shizuka asks Saeko to go to the staff room as the faculty members keep their car keys there. She asks her why she doesn't kill them, and Saeko responds that it could constrict their movement and result in them being surrounded by the undead while doing so. Saeko later rips part of Shizuka's skirt, saying that it would make running more efficient despite her protests. They later hear screaming along with Takashi and Rei, who run towards the source of the sound. Hirano asks Saya to throw him some nails as he is running out, but she is unable to as one of them approaches her. She grabs a drill and impales its head, killing it while the four who came to her aid watch. Everyone but Shizuka kills the remaining undead. Saya later says that she can do anything once she puts her mind to it, but ends up crying shortly afterwards. Saeko comforts her while the others watch. The 6 remaining survivors think of a way to escape, deciding upon the bus. After that, Takashi relays the plan to everybody, telling them that they will make sure their families are alright and then find somewhere safe. Then the news comes on and the survivors watch in horror of how the city is plagued with zombies. The survivors are shocked to learn that the zombie pandemic has spread worldwide. After encountering another group of survivors, Takashi tests a theory on avoiding the zombies based on how they can only react to sound. However, when one of the survivors accidentally makes a sound, they have to fight through a horde on the way to the bus, losing some survivors in the process. When they spot another group of survivors approaching, Rei recognizes one of the teachers, Mr. Shido, and is hesitant about letting him on board. After breaking out of the school, Rei becomes defiant about Shido appointing himself as the leader and runs off the bus. As Takashi goes after her, a bus filled with zombies crashes and traps them in a tunnel, forcing them to meet up with the other survivors later. After defeating a biker zombie, Takashi and Rei find its motorbike and head towards the city. A recap of the past events are shown from Takashi's perspective. After the recap, Takashi and Rei continues moving through the city, until they encounter a police car. With the occupants dead, Rei searches the vehicle and gathers an expandable baton, a revolver, and some bullets. Later, they start to run out of gas, and stop at a gas station. As Takashi goes to a cash register nearby to operate the gas pump, Rei is attacked by an insane survivor, who holds her hostage and sexually gropes her. Takashi quickly shoots him up close and Rei breaks free and leaves the survivor to die in the hands of the incoming zombies. With their bike refueled, Takashi and Rei begin moving again. Takashi thinks about how it's only been a day since the outbreak and he has already killed a man. At Kansai International Airport, Rika Minami and her squad from the SAT helps in the evacuation of civilians by clearing zombies at the runway. Meanwhile, after escaping from a war zone between mad survivors and zombies, Takashi and Rei learns all of the bridges have been blocked by the police and military to prevent infected civilians from coming in. Realizing nothing good is gained by staying with Shido, Kohta, Saeko and Shizuka leaves the bus after Kohta persuades him and heads to Onbetsu Bridge where they encounter more zombies. Just when they are cornered, Takashi and Rei use some badass motorcycle skills and save the day. Takashi hands the gun over to Kohta as he is familiar to long-range weapons. Needing a place to stay for the night, Shizuka suggests they stay at her friend Rika's apartment where a Humvee is parked outside. With zombies infesting around the building, the group heads inside and fights them.